Hello everyone, I'm back today with the sixth session of our 10-day C programming course. Please do watch the previous videos if you haven't. Hope all of you had worked on the basic problems which I had mentioned yesterday. Now that we've covered most of the basic concept, let's see about control flow. Control flow or flow of control is the order in which individual statements, instructions, or function calls of an imperative program are executed or evaluated. So, what a control flow or flow of control means is the way of execution in a program. That is, the order in which the lines of code is executed in a program. That is what is called control flow. Now, mainly they are divided into two, which is branching and looping, which we'll be seeing more in the coming sessions. Now, let me try to give you an example where you might have had to use, you might have had to make a decision. That is, you're going to your house, and there is from your school you're going back to your house. So there are two ways to your home. One is the shortest way and one is the longest way. So which one would you choose? If you had to reach home fast, you would choose the shortest way. Whereas if you would like to spend much more time, and then if you would like to go home, then you'll choose the longest way. So in the same way, in coding also, when it comes to coding, there comes a situation where you will have to make a decision. That is, if this particular condition has happened, then this is what should be done. Otherwise, if this condition has happened, that is what should be done. In the same way, in the coding also we can do the same. So the statements which allow us to make such decisions are called control statements. These control statements will decide the flow of control, or will decide the execution of the way of execution the code. Now, branching means according to a condition, we will decide which set of code should be executed. That is what is meant by branching. That is, see, if we are taking a shirt, and if the color of the shirt is red, then I'll wear it today. Otherwise, if the color of the shirt is not red, I'll keep it aside. That is called branching. That is, according to a particular condition, you are deciding what to do. And then comes looping. So looping means performing a particular task for many times. That is, let us consider an example. Your teacher has given you a question for finding the sum of 10 numbers. So what will you do? You will take the first number, with that you will add the second number. So here you will keep on adding numbers. Keep on adding numbers is the that is a task which has to be performed, and you have to do it for a certain number of times. So this is called looping. Looping is a situation where you have to perform a particular task for continuously for certain number of times. Now let's see about if statement. So in C there is if statement, and so here there is given the syntax or the way in which if statement should be written. If inside bracket you will have to write the condition, and in after then you have to put curly brackets. So inside the curly brackets you will have to write the set of code that has to be executed if the condition is true. So as I said, if you have to reach, so the like here, like if you're taking an example, the condition would be if you would like to reach home in short time, then you have to take the shortest path. So in the same way, if the number is greater than 10, then you have to print the number is greater than 10. So here, if that is the problem, then inside the condition you will check if the number is greater than 10, and then inside the curly brace you will put the print statement saying the number is greater than 10. So that will be an example. So here it is given how if statement works. The if statement evaluates the test expression inside the parenthesis. So it will check the condition inside the bracket. If the condition is true, it will execute the code or the line of codes given inside these bracket. Otherwise it won't execute. It will directly go to the next line which comes after this bracket. And also there is something that has to be noted. If the if the statement that you would like to include inside the, or the statement which you would like to execute is, if the condition is true, if that statement is only one, then it's not necessary that you have to put this curly brackets. That is, let me give an example, that you are checking if a number is greater than 10, If the number is greater than 10, all you have to do is to print on the screen that the number is greater than 10. So in such conditions, you don't have to use this curly bracket, because you are only going to include one single line or one single code inside the curly bracket or inside the if condition. So now let's see the next. If the test expression is evaluated to true, true statements inside the body of if are executed. If the test expression is evaluated to false, statement inside the body of if are not executed. So here there is an example given. So int test equal to 5, they are checking if the value given in test is less than 5. It is true. So if that is true, what happens is this the code which is given inside these brackets will be executed, and then after that they'll execute the code which comes after the curly brackets. Here the value of test is 5, and if test greater than 5 is not greater than 10, it's false. So what happens is this, the code which is given inside these brackets won't be executed, but it will go here, the control will go here, and the code here will be executed. The code from here to the end of the program will be executed. So this is how if condition works. So if also belongs to control statement. Now let's see an example of control if condition. So this is a program to check if a number is negative. Yeah. So here you are asked to accept a number, then you will give the input is stored in the variable number, and what happens here is it is checking if the number is greater than if the number is less than 0. So if the number is less than 0, then what it will do is it will print you entered that number. The input will be printed here. You entered the number stored in number will be printed here. Then after that it will come and print the statement. The if statement is easy. If the number is not greater than, if the number is greater than 0, then it will not print the statement. This line will be printed only if the number is less than 0. That is only if this condition is true. Otherwise this won't be printed. Let's see the output here. See, enter an integer, -2 is entered. So since -2 is less than 0, this is executed. You get it. You entered -2, and after that this statement is executed. This statement will be executed even if the condition is true or false. So it's not necessary, if this condition is false or even if this condition is true, this statement will always be executed. Now we will see about else if. I hope if part is easy for you. It's simple. If the condition is true, the statements given inside the curly brackets will be executed, otherwise it won't be executed. The statement which comes after the curly, which comes after the curly brackets of if condition will be executed no matter what. So from the if block starts from here and ends here. So anything inside the if block will be executed based on this condition. After the if block stops, after the if block finish, that is this remarks the starting of the if if, and this denotes the end. So after that condition is checked, the control will come here and it will print the statement. This is what happens. Now we will see what is else if. Else if means here if the condition is true only it will print. But here in else if what happens is if this condition is true, the statements here will be printed. If the condition, otherwise if the condition is false, it will go to the else part, and the values or the statements which is given inside this block will be printed. So let's find it out. If the test expression is evaluated to true, the statements inside the body of if are executed, and the statements inside the body of else are skipped from the execution. If the test expression is evaluated to false, the statements inside the body of else are executed, and the statements inside the body of if are skipped from execution. So here there is an example. If test is equal int test equal to 5, test less than 10, it is true because 5 less than 10 is true. So the body or the content which is given inside these opening bracket and closing bracket of if will be executed. Next, if this condition is false, that is 5 greater than 10, definitely it's false. So the statements which is given inside this curly opening and closing bracket of if won't be executed. Those statements won't be executed. Instead, the control will go to the else part, and the statements which is given inside the curly brackets of else will be executed. Now let's see an example program. Here they are asked to enter a number. After entering a number, they are checking number modulo 2 equal to 0. So modulo is the operator which is used to find the remainder. Number modulo 2 means it will divide the number and it will give you the remainder. If the remainder is equal to 0, then it means it is an even integer. That is, if you divide any number by 2 and if you get the remainder 0, it means the number is even. And if you divide any number by 2 and if you get the remainder 1, then it means the number is odd. So that is the same logic which is used here. After dividing the number, if you get the remainder as 0, then you have to print the number is an even integer. Otherwise, you have to print the number is an odd integer. So 7 is the input given. So 7 modulo 2 is 1. So this condition becomes false. This condition is not satisfied. So instead of executing the contents of the if block, what it will do is it will go to the else part and then it will execute the statement. So execute the statement means here printf 7 is an odd integer will be printed on the screen. Then after that it will come to the next statement. Next statement return 0. The program is finished. So this is all about else if. Next we will see else if ladder. So else if ladder means there might be some conditions like if the input given by the user is 1, then you have to print ONE on the screen. Otherwise, if the user input is 2, you have to print TWO on the screen. Otherwise, if the input given by the user is 3, you have to print THREE on the screen. In such conditions, you will make use of else if ladder. So what happens is it will check the condition mentioned in the first if, and then if it's not true, it will go to the next else if part. So else if means if the first condition is true, it will go check the next condition. So here it is. We will see the if else statement executes two different codes depending upon whether the test expression is true or false. Sometimes a choice has to be made from more than 2 possibilities. That is, when you have more than 2 possibilities, that is when you use the else if ladder. So checking if a number is odd or even, the possibility is 2. That is, a number will be odd or a number will be even. There is nothing more than that. So in such cases, it is fine for you to just use a else if. But here when you have to check, see, as the example I said, when the user gives input 1, you have to print ONE. If the user gives input 2, the possibilities are many. So it's in such situations you will have to use a else if ladder. The else if ladder allows you to check between multiple test expressions and execute different statements. That is, it allows you to include a lot of conditional statement, that is test expressions, and execute different statements. So according to the test expression, the condition statements will be, that is other statements will be executed. So here this is syntax. Syntax means this is how you should write it. If test expression, the condition will be given here, and inside the curly bracket you should write what should be done if the condition is true. Then else if, that is if this condition is false, you have to check if this, what it will do is it will check if this condition is true. And then if this condition is true, you have to what you have to do is, again you will have to include code here to tell the computer, to instruct the computer what to do in case if this condition is true. Now again, while checking the condition, if this condition also becomes false, it will go to the next condition. So according to your requirements, you can write the change the number of else if in your code. It's not necessary that you have to include 2 else if in your program. It's like if you have 3 possibilities, then it will be if first condition, else if second condition, else means the last part. After all the possibilities, the leftover possibility. Then if else will be fine. If you have 4 conditions, then it will be like if first condition, else if second condition, else if third condition, and else fourth condition. So this is the syntax of it. Now we'll see a program. This is to okay, int number 1, number 2. You're asked to, the user is asked to enter two numbers. So the two numbers will be stored in number 1 and number 2. Here they are checking if the first number 1 is equal to number 2. So if it is equal, then it will tell yes, result, it will print first number is equal to second number. Otherwise, if the two numbers are not equal, what it will do is it will go check the next condition. Next condition is it will check if the first number is greater than the second number. If that is true, it will print the first number is greater than the second number. Then if that is not true, it will go to the next else, which is the else part. In the else part, what it will do, if both the conditions are false, then the only possibility is that the second number is greater than the first number. It will directly print that. Now if the both numbers are equal, that is in the first condition itself, is if the both numbers are equal, the rest of the else part, or the else if and else part, won't be considered, because this has already become true. If this condition becomes true, this part of the block, the statements which is included in that part will be executed, and the rest of the else if ladder will not be considered. It will directly go after this else part. The control will go after the else part, and it will execute the statements which come after the else part, that is after the closing of the else part. So again, if let's consider that number 1 is 7 and number 2 is 5. So 7 not equal to 7 equal to 5 is false, so it won't execute this part. What it will do is it will come to the else if part, and it will check 7 greater than 5, it is true. So what it will do, it will print result 7 greater than 5. So here, since the condition has become true, it will not go to the next part, that is, it will not go to the else part. It will directly come here after the else if part is closed, the next line, that is where the control comes. So here, according to this example, the two numbers are 12 and 23. So 12 is less than 23. It will check the first condition, false. 12 equal to 23, false, because they are not equal. Then 12 greater than 23, false, because that is not true. Then the only possibility left is 12 less than 23. That is, they don't have to check any condition, because that is the only possibility. So here directly they are printing 12 less than 23. See here. Now let's see what is nested if. So we saw if else, and else if ladder. Now we are going to see nested if. Nested if means inside the, see, we the normal if is if in bracket parenthesis we'll put our condition, and then we'll put curly brackets. Inside the curly brackets we'll write the statement which has to be executed if the condition is true. Now what if you have to check some statements. So in nested if, what happens is, inside the if condition you can again put an if condition, that is, inside the curly brackets of an if condition you can again include another if condition. So it is possible to include an if else statement inside the body of another if else statement. Now we'll see an example. See here, they're asking to enter two numbers. We got two numbers. If number 1 greater than or equal to number 2, that is, if number 1 is greater than or equal to number 2, then there is an opening bracket, which means, okay, again inside the first bracket, that is inside the if block of this, again we can see there is another if condition, and then if this condition is true, this will be executed. This else is of this if. This if else is this one, and this is opened here. This bracket is opened here, and inside this particular if condition we have this if condition, and this is the statement which should be executed if this condition is true. Otherwise, if this condition is true, then this will be printed. Otherwise, if this condition is true and this condition is false, this will be printed. Now in the beginning itself, if this condition is false, this one will be printed. Let's take an example, like let's take two numbers which is 7 and 5 itself. So 7 greater than or equal to 5, it is true. So what it will do, it will go inside the if. So going inside the if means it will, okay, the opening bracket opening curly braces, it will come inside, and then it will check the, since there is a if here, it will check that condition also. If 7 equal to 5, 7 equal to 5 is not true. So what it will do here, it's opening bracket of if, opening bracket of this if condition, then the closing bracket of this if condition, and then comes the else part. Since this condition is not true, it will come to the else part, and what it will do directly, it will execute the statements which is included inside the else part. So that is print result 7. What will be printed is result 7 greater than 5 will be printed. Now since the first if, that is here, this statement was true, first condition itself was true, so this one's else part won't be executed. Now here also, if this condition is true, this if's else part won't be executed. Here now we have finished branching. Inside branching we have if else if ladder, nested if, and switch. So switch we'll be seeing about it in the like later in today's session itself, but these will be fine for you. After we see about loops, we will go see about switch. So now we have come to loop. What happens in loop is used for performing the same set of, or for executing the same set of code for n number of times. That is, you have to there is a variable a, and it is the value stored in a is 1. So what you have to do is you have to increment the value of a for 10 times. So what will happen if you keep on adding 1 to the variable a for 10 times? Already the value stored in a is 1. So 1 plus 1, 1. So one time we added 1 and the value became 2. Again, for the second time we are adding 1 to a, it becomes 3. So if you keep on going like that, the value becomes the total, the value stored in a becomes 11. So here what we have done is we are adding value 1 to a. So the adding value 1 to a has been executing for 10 times now. We can write write the code like a equal to a plus 1. In one line we can write that. We can write the same line in same code in 10 lines, and by the end if we print the value of a, we will get 11. But this is tiring, because the same statement or the same code you are writing for 10 times. Now this is when you use loops. So loop is used to perform a particular task for n number of times. That is, inside the loop you can mention, please keep on adding. That is, in the programming language, in the particular syntax, you can write you have to keep on adding value 1. You have to keep on adding 1 to the value of a for 10 times. You can do that using loops. Now let us see what are the different types of loops. We have entry controlled loops and exit controlled loops. Now entry controlled loop means, if you are taking the example which I gave now, adding a value 1 to a for 10 times, the condition given for the loop will be keep adding 1 to a for 10 times. So if before, maybe it is better if we see the loops and then I explain you the concept of entry control loop and exit control loop. Anyway, I'll tell you what entry control loop is. Entry control loop means before executing the body of the loop or the statement which is given inside the loop, if you check the condition, it is called entry control loop. And if you check the conditions after executing the code, it is called exit control loop. Now let us see what is for loop. There are 3 main loops available in C. One is for loop, while loop, and do while loop. For loop and while loop are entry controlled loops, whereas do while loop is exit controlled loops. Please make note of that. For loop and while loop are entry controlled loops, whereas do while loop is exit controlled loops. Now this is the syntax for loop. For initialization statement, test expression, update statement. Initialization statement means it is a statement place where you initialize a variable. once we see the example, you will understand why it is why we need an initialization statement there. And then we have a text expression. Test expression means the condition which should be checked. Then we have update statement, that is for updating. Now remember the example I gave you for adding value 1 to a 10 times. What we have to do is, see, first time you will add 1 to a, second time you will add 1 to a, third time you will add 1 to a, 10th time also you will add 1 to a, but the 11th time you shouldn't add 1 to a. So to keep count of the number of times you add 1 to a, you need another variable. So for that, while taking in for loop, you need another variable. Let us take the variable to be I. So I is given as 1. So the first time 1 will look after the number of times that you have added 1 to variable a. Now you have given you have assigned the value 1 to I. So in the so here you will have for I equal to 1 in the initial statement. Then what you have to do is you have to put a semicolon. Now next is the test expression. Test expression means the condition which we have to check is you should add 1 to a only for 10 times. You shouldn't add 1 to a when it becomes more than 10 times. So what is the condition? The number of times or the count in I should be less than 11. Less than 11 means it can be any number which is less than 11. So here the test condition will be I less than 11. It shouldn't be more than 10. That is why I am using I less than 11. Now next condition is every time I add 1 to a, I should increment the value of I, because I is the variable which looks after the number of times I have added 1 to the variable a. So here I'll be giving I plus plus. I can give I plus plus or I plus equal to 1 or I equal to I plus 1. Now inside the the curly brackets, I'll be giving a equal to a plus 1. That is incrementing the value of a by 1. So what happens here is in the code, when a for loop occurs, it will check for. First it will see the initialization statement. So here it will see I is equal to 1. So in the memory I will be created, and in the variable I 1 will be stored. Then it will see the test expression. Test expression is I less than 11. So what is the value stored in I? The value stored in I is 1. 1 less than 11 is true. So what it will do? It will execute the body of the loop. Now the body of the loop is a is equal to a plus 1. So initially the value of a was 1. After incrementing a by 1, the value 2 will be stored in a. Then after that, the update statement will be executed. Now what is update statement? I is equal to I plus 1 in this example. So the value of I will be changed to 2. Now after the update statement is checked, next again they will see the test expression. Test expression is I less than 11. 2 less than 11, it is true. So again it will execute the statements inside the for loop, which is a equal to a plus 1. A value will be changed to 3. Again it will go to the update statement, which is I equal to I plus plus. So the value of I becomes 2, and then test expression. So only once the for loop is once the control of execution reaches the for loop, only for the first time the initialization statement is considered. After the initialization statement has been considered, then only the test expression, body of the loop, update statement will be executed in a cycle. So again after text expression, body of the loop will be executed, then then update statement will be checked, then it will again go to test expression, body of the loop will be executed, update statement, test expression. So it goes in a cycle. So once the test expression becomes false, that is once when for the 10th time I added value 1 to a, so a becomes 11, and I again it goes to the update after the after executing the statements inside the body of the loop, it will go to the update statement. Update statement is I is equal to I plus 1. So at that time, what will be the value of I when we are adding value 1 to a for the 10th time? The value of I will become 11, and it will check the expression 11 less than 11. Is it true? No, it is false, because 11 is equal to 11. Now what happens is the statement inside the body of the loop won't be executed. What it will do is, here the closing bracket, see the closing bracket of the for loop. After that, what all are the statements? Those statements will be executed. This is what happens. Now there is something called infinite loop. Infinite loop means when you don't give the condition, see the execution stopped because the condition here became false. So infinite loop is the kind of loop where the condition always becomes true. That is, I'm giving I greater than 0 and I'm giving I plus plus statement here. So what happens is, when I'm incrementing the value of I, the value of I will always be greater than 0, because I'm always adding 1 to the number. So even since I'm adding 1 to I, always the value becomes greater than 0. So that the body of the loop keeps on executing, and there is no exit condition. That the since the loop keeps on executing, that is, since the body of the loop keeps on executing, there is no way that that it would break out of the loop and come outside. So that is called an infinite loop. Now let's see how the loop works. The initialization statement is only executed once. That is, this is only for the first time only this is executed. After that, the test expression, body of the loop, update statement. This goes in a cycle until the test expression becomes false. Then the test expression is evaluated. If the test expression is evaluated to false, the for loop is terminated. Once it is false, the for loop body won't be executed. It will come out of the for loop and the remaining statements in the code will be executed. However, if the test expression is evaluated to true, statements inside the body of for loop are executed and the update expression is updated. After execution, it will execute the update statement, which is according to the example which I explained, it is I plus plus. So I plus plus will be executed, and again it will go back to the test expression. Again the test expression is evaluated. This process goes on until the test expression is false. When the test expression is false, the loop terminates. Now see, this is the flowchart. Initial expression, that is just for one time it will be executed. After that, it will check the condition. If it is true, the loop body of the loop is executed. That is, the statements included inside the for loop is executed. After that, update expression, that is I plus plus or anything, that will be executed. Again it will go and check the statement. This will happen in a loop. If this is false, if the expression becomes false, it comes out of the loop. Now there is a simple program. This is a simple program to print all the numbers from 1 to 10. So here, to print all the numbers from 1 to 10, I need a number to keep count. So for that I am using the variable I. In I will be storing only integer values. So here, for I equal to 1, I equal to 1 is initialization. Since I need only numbers from 1 to 10, I should stop when the number becomes more than 10. So therefore I am using the condition I less than 11. So the test expression here is I less than 11. Now I have plus plus I. So plus plus I is pre-decrement and I plus plus is post decrement. I'll explain more about it since this is just a basic. So plus plus I in loop you can use plus plus I or I plus plus. So there is plus plus I. Plus plus I means increment the value of I by 1. So here printf I. So what happens is I equal to 1, I less than 11. 1 is less than 11, it will print 1. Again the value of I is incremented to 2. 2 less than 11, it will print 2. It is incremented to 3. So it will keep on going, and after printing 10, the value of I will become 11. 11 means 11 less than 11, it is false. So it will come to return 0 and the execution of the program is stopped. See, this is a simple program. It is a simple program to print numbers from 1 to 10. I like to give you a homework. What you have to do is you have to try to print the numbers from 0 to 10 which are even. That is, the output should be something like 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Try to print those numbers. Now here there is explanation. I is initialized to 1. See here, this is the initialization statement. I is initialized to 1. The test expression I less than 11 is evaluated. Since 1 is less than 11, which is true, the body of the for loop is executed. Here the body of the for loop is print modulo d space. So space is given so that it doesn't look clumsy. If there was no space given, it would be like a single number, 11 digit number, like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1 0. That is what the output would look like. So to increase the readability of the code, of the output, what they have done is after printing the value, they have included a space. So 1 space, 2 space, 3 space. So in such a manner they have printed the output. Now the update statement. So since the condition is true, the body of the for loop is executed. This will print the value 1. The value 1 is the value stored in I. So I will be used to print the values. Now update the update statement plus I is executed. Now the value of I will be 2. Again the test expression is evaluated to true and the body of the for loop is executed. That is, it will go in cycle. Test expression, body, update statement. Test expression, body, update statement. That is how it will go, and until the condition becomes false, the body of the loop will keep on executing. Now that is for loop. That is one example. Here we have another example. So there is, we have declared 3 variables, num, count, and sum is initialized to the value 0. So you are asked to accept a positive number. Now let us accept 5. Let us imagine the 5 is the input. So count, what happens here is count equal to 1, count less than or equal to 5, plus count, sum, and the body of the for loop is sum plus equal to count. Here it is not necessary that you have to include the opening and closing brackets for, because in the body of for there is only one statement. So it is enough for it would be fine if you won't include these curly brackets for loop. Instead, if there is 2 statements like sum plus equal to count and count plus equal to sum, if there are more than one statement, then definitely you have to include the curly brackets for. Now insert sum plus equal to count. So count, what it does is it will keep track of the numbers from 1 to the input which we have given, and then it will find the sum of those numbers. That is, if 5 is the input that I have given, then count the value of every time the value of count is incremented, the value of the count will be 1 2 3 4 5. 5 is the input which I gave. So until 5, the value of count will be incremented. So what happens here is, in sum I am adding these numbers. So this is a program to find the sum of numbers from 1 to the number that we have entered. Since we have entered 5, at the first time the value of count is 1. So 1 less than or equal to 5, true. So sum plus equal to count. Sum plus equal to count is equal to sum plus count. So the value of count is 1. So sum value is 0 and 0 equal to 0 plus 1. So 1 will be assigned to the variable sum. So the next time value of count is incremented by 1. So value of count becomes 2. 2 less than 5, true. So again 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. 3 is added to sum. So in the same way, until the value of count becomes 6, it will keep on executing, and once the value of count becomes 6, what happens is the control will come out of the loop. That is, it will come after this closing bracket, and then it will come here. If there is no closing bracket, it will come after this statement, and then it will come to the print next statement, which is print sum equal to the value of sum. So here, if the input is 10, the output will be 55. So here there is a small explanation that I've given here. The value entered by the user is stored in the variable num. Suppose the user entered 10. The count is initialized to 1 and the test expression is evaluated. Since the test expression count less than or equal to num is true for the body the body of for loop is executed and the value of sum will be equal to 1. Then the update statement count plus is executed and the count will be equal to 2. Again the test expression is evaluated. Since 2 is also less than 10, the test expression is evaluated to true and the body of for loop is executed. Now the sum will be equal to 3. This process goes on and the sum is calculated until the count reaches 11. When the count is 11, the test expression is evaluated to false and the loop terminates. Then the value of sum is printed on the screen. So this is another simple program which is used to find the sum of natural numbers. Now let us see about while loop. So let us see the syntax of the while loop. So in while it is given while test expression opening bracket, inside the inside the opening and closing curly brackets will give the statements which should be executed if the condition is true. Now let's see how the while loop works. The while loop evaluates the test expression inside the parenthesis. So here in loops, in branching statements and in looping statements, you can see the set of statements inside the opening curly braces and closing curly braces is executed only if the condition or the test expression becomes true. Otherwise, it is not executed. Now, the loop evaluates the test expression inside the parenthesis. If the test expression is true, statements inside the body of while loop are executed. The statements inside the body of while loop means the statements which are given inside these curly brackets. And if there is only one statement, then it's not necessary that we have to give the curly bracket. The process goes on. If the test expression is true, statements inside the body of while loop are executed, then the test expression is evaluated again. That goes on in a cycle. The process goes on until the test expression is evaluated to false. If the test expression is false, the loop terminates. That is looping. For looping, it is the same. That is that there will be a test expression. If the test expression is true, until the condition becomes false, the body of the loop will keep on executing. That is common for all the loops. See here, there is a test expression, and then there is a while loop body, and again it is checked. Again that test expression is checked. If it is false, it comes out of the loop. That is the execution of the body of the loop is terminated. So here there is a simple program. This is a simple program to print numbers from 1 to 5. Now let's see how it is done. So in the beginning, I is equal to 1. So I will be, we are saying 1, when we are asked to find the number of first 5 numbers, what will we do? We will take 1, then we will take 2, then we will take 3, then we will take 4, then we will take 5. There is something that you can note. When you add 1 to 1, you will get 2. When you add 1 to 2, you will get 3. When you add 1 to 3, you will get 4, and when you add 4 to 1, when you add 1 to 4, you will get 5. So the difference is 1. So that is why here you can see in the loops they are adding 1 every time. That is, if you got the first number, if you have to get the second number, you just have to add 1 to it. Now here you can see in the beginning itself I am initializing I value to 1. In for loop, what we did is there is in the syntax for the for loop itself there is something called initialization statement. So there, that is right after the opening parenthesis of the for loop, there is initialization statement directly you are mentioning there. But here in while you can see there is only place for test condition inside the while loops bracket, or that is parenthesis. So you are just putting the condition here. So the initialization is done before the starting of the while loop. So you can see after we have initialized the value of I to 1, then comes the loop where while I less than or equal to 5. Since we need to print only numbers which is up to 5, you can use the condition I less than or equal to 5, or you can use another condition which is I less than 6. Now what you have to do is, after printing the value, I am using /n. /n is an escape sequence. It means new line. That is, the cursor will go to the next line, and there the value of I will be printed. 1 is printed, it will go to the next line. So after printing value of I is incremented by 1. It will go and check the condition. The body of the loop is executed. It will check this. It will increment the value of 1. Again, it will go check the condition. Body of while loop is executed, and then value of I is incremented by 1. Again it will go and check until this keeps on going on until I becomes greater than 5. That is until this condition becomes false. So here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are printed. Now let us see what is actually happening. Here we have initialized I to 1. When I is 1, the test expression I less than or equal to 5 is true. Hence the body of the while loop is executed. Hence the body of the while loop is executed. This prints 1 on the screen and the value of I is increased to 2. That is, after the value of I has been printed on the screen, plus plus I statement will be executed. Now I is 2 and the test expression I less than or equal to 5 is again true. The body of the while loop is executed again. This prints 2 on the screen and the value of I is increased to 3. This process goes on until I becomes 6. When I is 6, the test expression I less than or equal to 5 will be false and the loop terminates. That is, the body of the loop will keep on executing until or unless the condition becomes false. So now we have seen for loop and while loop. Next we are going to see do while loop. So what is something common here in for loop and while loop? In the beginning itself, first you will check the expression and then you are executing the statements of the, that is, then you are executing the body of the loop. Here also, you are first in the beginning itself you are checking the condition and then only you are going and executing the body of the loop. But you can see here in do while loop, see, they are not here. After do there is no conditional expressions or anything, right? Right after do, what they're doing is they are executing the statements inside the loop, and after executing the statements for one time, then they are coming and checking the condition here. So if you use do while loop, no matter what, you use do while loop in such conditions where the code has to, where the body of the loop has to be executed for one time, no matter even if the condition is true or false. So this is the main reason why we have entry controlled loops and exit control loops. Entry controlled loops are for loop and while loop. That is the condition for executing, to check whether the body of the loop should be executed or not is checked in the beginning itself. Whereas in while loop, which is an exit control loop, the body of the loop is executed for one time, and after executing it for one time, the condition is checked. Then again, after, if the condition is true, again the body is executed, it will come to the test expression. Again the body is executed, it will come to the test expression. So until the test expression becomes false, this will keep on happening. In the entry control loop, first the test expression is evaluated, then the body is executed. Whereas in exit control loop, the body is executed and then the condition is checked. Now let's see how the do while loop works. The body of do while loop is executed once. Only then the test expression is evaluated. If the test expression is true, the body of the loop is executed again and the test expression is evaluated. This process goes on until the expression becomes false. If the test expression is false, the loop ends. So this is the flow chart. This is the body of the while loop, and then after executing it, they're coming and checking the expression. If it is true, again the body is executed. Otherwise, if the condition is false, the next statement is executed. Now this is a simple program. Program adds number until the user enters 0. So that is, the program will keep on accepting numbers from the user and it will keep on adding the number until the user enters the number 0. So let's see, there is here the variables number and 0 are declared. Sum is initialized to 0. These are not of integer type. These variables are of double type. That is, they can all be used to store double values. Now do, we have do. That is, here the body is executed first because there is no the condition is at the bottom. Printf, enter a number. You are asked to enter a number, and after entering a number, in sum, the value of the number which you have entered is added, and then after that is executed for one time, the condition is checked. They are checking if the number entered is equal to 0, but the number entered is not equal to 0, it is true. So again it will execute. So once this number entered equals to 0, the sum is printed. See here it keeps on asking, and at last when the user has entered 0, the sum has become, they are printing the sum directly. Now let's see what is a break statement. A break statement, when it occurs inside the body of any loop or branch, what it does is it will break out of the body of that particular block. In a block, it can be said to be, see, from one opening curly bracket to the closing of that curly bracket, that is called one block. Now if you include a break in that, it will, if you include a break in that block, it will come out of that block. So here what happens is, in loop, mostly it is used in loops. When you use break, what happens is the control comes out of the loop. Here also, if you include break, the control comes out of the loop. See here, the body of the if condition is break, but still it will come, the control will come out of the loop, not out of break. The control will come out of the loop. The execution of the loop will be terminated and the control will come out of the loop. Here also you can see, inside the if condition we are having a break, but even though it is inside if condition, the control comes after the, that is the execution of the loop is terminated and the control comes after the loop. It's not necessary that it always has to be inside if condition, if block. If you want, you can add break alone in the code. So here there's an example. These are the examples with a while loop, do while loop, and if loop. Now there's a simple program, I equal to 1, I less than or equal to 10, plus plus I. So we have integer value I, double, we have number and sum. So sum is initialized to 0.0. Enter a number, you are asked to enter a number, and that number is stored in the variable number. And they are checking if number less than 0, that is if the number is a negative number, the control will come out of the loop. That is this is opening bracket, this is a closing bracket. So the control after break has encountered, it will come here. So the next statement is printf. So directly the value of sum will be printed. You can see here 2.5 is greater than 0, no problem. 4.5 is greater than 0, no problem. 3.5 is greater than 0, no problem. Minus 3 is less than 0. So this condition becomes true and break. So directly the value of sum will be printed. And now we will see what is continue statement. So break was used to break out of the loop, or to stop the execution of the body of the loop, and to take the control out of the loop. Whereas continue is used to skip the execution of the statements, which is statements after the continue. And see here there's an example. I'll give you with an example, that is better. After this, if this condition is true and if there is continue, what happens is the statements inside the loop which comes after continue won't be executed. It will directly go and check the test expression. If it is in do while loop, if there is continue, what happens is the statements after the continue won't be considered. It will directly come here and it will check the expression. If the condition is true, again it will execute. If it is in for, here if the condition is true, and if it will come to continue. Continue means the any statements which comes after the continue and also belongs to the same block. Here continue belongs to the for loop block, that is from here to here. So all the statements from this point to here won't be executed directly. The update statement will be executed and it will check the condition here, and then if the condition is true, this will be executed. So continue statement skips the current iteration of the loop and continues with the next iteration. That is that particular looping won't be it will be skipped, and the next time it continues. So continue statement is always used with the if else statement. Now it's not always, it's almost always that there are some conditions where you don't have to use continue. So according to your program or according to the output you would like to have, you can change the working, or you can change whether to use continue or not. Now there is a simple program. Here I equal to 1, I less than or equal to 10, I plus plus. It is the same number, that is instead of if in the previous program, if the value that is if the value was less than I, if the value was less than 0, that is if the number entered by the user was less than 0, it would directly print the value of sum. But here, even though the number but here what the change is, instead of giving break, they have given continue. So if in this condition, in this situation, when we enter a negative number, what happens is negative number is always less than 0. This condition will become true and continue will be executed. So continue will be executed means what are the statements which come after continue here? only sum plus equal to number is the statement which comes after continue here, because that is the only statement which is available before this, from here, from this closing bracket of the if to this closing bracket of the for. Until there only this is the statement available, so this one won't be executed. What happens is it will go to the plus plus I, it will check the condition, and again it will execute it. That is, continue is used to skip the iteration, skip the current iteration. It will skip the execution of the these statements, and it will continue with the next iteration. So here you can see negative value is accepted, negative value, negative value. This it won't be added. That is the only difference. Now we will see what a switch is. Switch belongs to branching, does not belong to loop. Just for your understanding, I've kept it here. Now switch is something, it allows us to execute one code block among many alternatives. You can do the same thing with if else ladder. However, the syntax of switch statement is much easier and much easier to read and write. So this reason why you are using switch statement is because it is much more easier to read and write, because else if it keeps on going, and it is kind of boring and tiring. So here we have something called a switch case. Let's see the syntax of switch case. Switch expression, inside the opening bracket we have case constant break. Inside, after case constant, there is a colon, then there are statements which should be executed. If this is true, then there is break, case constant, next break, again this, after that default. So what this works is, imagine that there is a condition here, or there is a particular variable here. The expression is evaluated once and then compared with the values of each case. If there is a match, the corresponding statements after each matching label are executed. For example, if the value of the expression is equal to constant 2, imagine that there is an expression here, and after solving the expression, like imagine you get a value after solving this expression. So case 1, here you have to give one value. Imagine that here it is given a particular value, and here there is a constant given. If this is equal, then the value, the statements here will be executed, and the break will be executed, and the control will go out of the switch. It is same as if else. That is, if any one is true, the coming ones won't be executed directly. The control will come out of it. If none of the cases are true, then the default is executed. Now see, let's hear. If there is no match, the default statements are executed. If we do not use break, all statements after matching labels are executed. That is, here we forgot to use break, then this one will be executed. Then all the next, that is which all ones are true, all of them will be executed. And also default is not necessary, it is just optional. So here there is a single expression. If that expression is equal to this one, then the code, then the block of statement which is belonging to this one will be executed. Otherwise, if this is true, and if this is false, and if this is true, then this one's block of statements will be executed. Otherwise, if this is false and this is true, this one's block of statements will be executed. It will keep on going, and until if it is true, it will be executed and it will come out of this switch. Otherwise, if all of this is true, what it will do is it will go to the default part. Now let's see an example. Here double n1 n2, then there is char operator. So operator is a variable which can only store a character, and whereas n1 and n2 are double. We have okay, n1 and n2, the data type is double. So printf enter an operator. You are asked to enter an operator. You can use plus, minus, star, slash, colon. Yeah, you can use anything, and then you have to enter one. After you can enter any one of them. Then you are asked to add, you are asked to enter two numbers. Now what they're checking is, they're checking for operator. That is, they'll check the value which is stored in the variable operator. If that value is plus, that is case plus, means here plus is given in quotes because all the characters should be given in single quotes. If you're giving a string value, that is, if you're giving a certain, if you're giving something like CHAIR, which is a word, it should be in double quotes because it's a string. So a group of characters is called a string. A group, please make note of this. A group of numbers, that is something like a number like 1 2 3 4 5 6. It's not a character, it's a number. So you don't have to put it in quotes, you can just give it as it is. You can put case 0 1 2 3 4. Now since this is a character, we have to give it in quotes, single quotes. So case plus, that is if the input given by the user which is stored in operator is plus, then what you have to do is you have to add the two numbers and you have to print the sum. Then break. Otherwise, if that is not true and if the input given is minus, then you have to print the difference and then break out of the switch. And then if it is star, you have to find the product and then you have to print it. Otherwise, if it is slash, what you have to do is you have to find the quotient after dividing, and then you have to print it and then you have to break. Now if the operator which was given as input by the user does not match any of these, the default part will be executed, that is printf error operator is not correct. That is, if you are given some symbol like dollar, this part will be executed. The output will be error operator is not correct. So here the input given is minus and the two numbers which is given is 32.5 and 12.5. so this part will be executed. After executing this part, it will break. Since there is a break, it will come to the closing part of this block, that is switch operator, and it will come, the control will come here and it will execute all the statements from here. Now after this case, none of them will be executed. So by this we have come to the end of the session. If this is not clear enough for you, don't worry. Tomorrow we'll see more example programs of these, and I'll also share you more notes on these example programs. Please feel free to let us know about your doubts. We are here to clear it for you. And also don't forget to take the test after you have attended the video. After you have finished watching the video, make sure to attend the test before 10 o'clock, that is 10 p.m. because you won't be able to submit your responses after 10 p.m. And also don't forget to leave your valuable feedbacks. Thank you and have a nice day.